Hi guys, welcome to yet another video. In today's video, we're gonna talk about ratio. In another video as well, I'm gonna talk about proportion, but ratio and proportion are cousins. They are very much related. And I want you to understand that ratio is actually very easy. You just have to focus on some of the key factors that we're gonna talk about in this video. So let's jump right in. So we're gonna look at this example, which says that Nina and Mimi share 20 sweets in the ratio of 2 to 3. As you can see with that the colon. Colon in terms of ratio, it means 2. So 2 to 3. How many does each girl receive? So one of the key things that you have to understand is that when we say 2 to 3, we're talking about the value of the sweets. That means that Nina will receive 2 parts of the 20 sweets and Mimi will receive 3 parts. 3 parts does not mean 3 sweets. 2 parts does not mean 2 sweets. I'm going to show you what we mean. But one key word that I want you to recognize or realize is a word which is called respectively. Respectively means that whatever is mentioned first is the one with the first ratio. Whatever is mentioned second is the second ratio, or third or fourth, it doesn't matter, it just depends on the question. So in this case, Nina is the ratio represented with 2 and Mimi is the ratio represented with 3. So now we want to do this question. So the first key thing that you do is that you have to add the ratios. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Okay, so that's our total ratios. So we're just gonna write there, I'm gonna just put an N for Nina. So now how we represent this, we represent it as a fraction. So that is Nina has a ratio of 2 over the total ratios, which is 5. Then we multiply that with the 20 sweets that we are trying to share. And Mimi, I'll just make it an M, is represented with 3 parts over a total of 5, multiply by 20. Alright, so if you remember when we dealt with fractions, what we do is we're gonna say how many times does 5 go into 20, and we know that 5 goes into 20. 5 goes into 20. Let me just take my pen again there. 5 goes into 20 4 times. 4 times 2 equals 8. Then we do the same with Mimi. 5 goes into 20 4 times. 4 times 3 equals 12. So interpreting this ratio, Nina is gonna get 8 sweets and Mimi is gonna get 12 sweets. If we are to test this, 8 plus 12 gives us 20. So answer is correct. So the nice thing with ratio, you can always test whether you're correct. But remember the key thing being that you first add your ratios, then you check what ratio is assigned to what person. And remember, it's based on the order that they are mentioned. If Nina was first, Nina is the first ratio. Whoever is second is the second ratio. Whoever is third, and so forth. So now we're going to look at another example. So we're going to look at this example which says that Bronny and James share $120 Namibian in the ratio of 10:20. How much does each boy receive? So one thing that we notice off the bat is that the ratio is quite big. So one of the key things is that we want trying by all means to work with our ratios in a way that it is simple. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to simplify your ratios. So we are already given a ratio of 10:20. So the first thing is we want to look for a number. What number goes into 10 and goes into 20 without leaving a remainder? So that number would be 10, the highest number you can find. So 10 goes into 10 one time, and 10 goes into 20 2 times. So our new ratio is now 1:2, being Bronny is represented by 1 and James is represented by 2. So now we're gonna write it the same way we did with the other example. So Bronny is 1 over something just reminded me we're forgetting something. We did not add. We need to add. 1 plus 2 equals to 3. We have the total. That is very important. So brownie is 1 over a total of 3 pots multiplied by the 120 that we're trying to share. Then James is represented with 2 pots over 3 times 120. All right. Then we calculate. 3 goes into 120. If you remember the video on short division, you can say 3 goes into 12 4 times into 0, 0 there. Then 40 times 1 is 40. Then 3 goes into 120 again 40 times. Then 40 times 2 is 80. Alright, and one thing, always remember your signs, your SI units, they call them. So this is what? Namibian dollars. It's very important because if you don't, we don't know. What is it? Is it 40 biscuits? Is it 40 Simba chips? You know, you have to always be accurate. And to test if our answer is correct, 40 plus 80 gives us 120. And there we have it. So one thing that I want you to always understand is that when we are doing our ratio, working out our ratio, always remember the order. Brownie was first, so Brownie was represented by the first ratio. James was second, James was represented by the second ratio. The same here. Nina was first, Nina was represented by the first ratio. Mimi was second, represented by the second ratio. And then we add our ratios, then we calculate it as a fraction, and it is simple. So guys, I hope you understand, and I see you in the next one.